Tom Clark's Main Event is a Boink Studios production. Follow us on Twitter and Facebook at Boink Studios, and check us out on boinkstudios.com, where you can see all of our projects, past, present, and future. And now, on with the show.
This is Daddy Show. Step off.
Hey, what is up? Welcome back to the program, folks. Thank you for tuning in. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Tom Clark, and this is Tom Clark's Main Event. We're back once again here on Facebook Live. Glad you are with us. We're also recording today. The show will post on YouTube and is always available on boinkstudios.com. Don't forget to subscribe on iTunes, Google Play, and iHeartRadio. This is episode number 159, and yes, we're moving right along here on Facebook Live. I want to thank everyone for joining us here, of course, and for coming back each and every week. Much thanks to Heidi Ryan and the whole crew at Wrestling Rumors for giving us this platform. We do greatly appreciate it. So episode number 158 was WWE Crown Jewel. We covered the entire event from top to bottom, start to finish, the good, the bad, the ugly, and everything in between. But now we're back with another all-new edition. As you guys know, all of the episodes are first run. No reruns here, people. This time the main event is AEW Full Gear and Other Stuff. It's only a matter of time before I threw the word stuff in the episode title again. You guys know how I roll. That's kind of what I do. So I've got several episodes back in the archives, I guess you could call them, with the word stuff in them because I'm too lazy to think up anything else creative. It's early. Give me a break here, folks. Hey, what's going on, everybody? We've still got people coming in. Hello, Sandy in Germany, my friend. Thank you for hanging out. Carlos, what's going on? What do I think about Brock versus Ray? We'll get to that. In a nutshell, I don't know. I wrote a piece about that. I forget where did I write that for? I think it was for the floor seat. What's up, Aaron? You are just in time, my friend. You know, I'm back and forth on Ray versus Brock, man. I see it as being, you've got, once again, WWE is going to do the massive underdog story, yes? They're going to do the massive, here's Rey Mysterio, and you got to support him, and you should love this cat because he's a veteran, and he's a legend, and oh, by the way, he weighs 110 pounds or whatever it is next to Brock, and Brock can, pick him up with, like, his pinky and twirl him around and, pick his teeth with him and stuff. I mean, not to be disrespectful, I'm just saying that's the route WWE is going to go. I will say this from a real world perspective, not a real world perspective, from a storyline perspective, Brock Lesnar should be really nervous about Rey Mysterio because Rey Mysterio's got nothing to lose. Number one, number two, Rey Mysterio is dangerous in the ring. Not dangerous. He's a dangerous opponent because he knows that he's already at a disadvantage because of his size. So he has all sorts of creative offense. He has all sorts of ways that he can get to his opponent without his opponent even knowing he's even there. He has to stick and move. He has to shuck and jive. He has to in a match. Now, all this sounds good on paper, but once Brock, the guy, gets a hold of you, it's, game over, right? But, from that perspective, Brock should be concerned about who he's facing. Because this is not someone that's going to stand toe-to-toe with him. Brock has a much easier time. From a storyline perspective, again here, folks, Brock has a much easier time standing toe-to-toe with someone who will square up against him, like Goldberg, like Undertaker, like even Seth Rollins, someone who will square up with him, like Strowman. Lesnar has a much easier time with those guys, and Velasquez as well. But you throw somebody in there who's ducking and dodging the whole time, it could be a rope-a-dope situation. You know what I mean? Where like every time he goes after him, he ends up and he's like he's got all this confidence, but then he can't get his hands on him, and suddenly it becomes he's getting frustrated. Whether or not all that's going to play out, I don't know. It sounds beautiful for 15 years ago, maybe not in 2019. Do you know what I'm saying? So we'll see how it goes. Robert is asking if Cody wins on Saturday. Paige was like, okay, Mark, we got you, brother. Mark's got his eyes on Paige, folks. I will keep my my inappropriate comments to myself. That's all I got. Okay, so see, Shane, AEW already copying NWA storylines. Tim Storm has already done what Cody's. But Shane, to be fair, this has been done a lot in the past. It's already been done. I mean, nothing against Tim or Cody either one, but this has been done before. I get what you're saying. It is kind of weird that it happened not long after the Tim Storm thing happened. I get it. As far as copying, I don't know. I just think it happened to go on at the same time. I kind of thought that the announcement was going to be, if I don't beat Jericho, then this is my last singles match. This is my last match. I'm going to go behind the desk, which you could have done a whole other thing with. But let's get in AEW, folks. Christopher's hitting us with something here. Let's see. They spoiled the Jericho-Cody match by having Cody say he'll never challenge for the title again if he loses. As a VP, there's no way he'll ever hold the world title. He'll never hold the world title, so he's obviously going to win it. Christopher, you don't know that. You don't know that. And I'll put it to you this way, Christopher. When MJF betrays him Saturday night, do not be surprised. Lance, AEW was good, man. As I said at the opening of the show, it was good, not great. I enjoyed it. My son had fun. How was Raw on Monday? What's up, Nikki? Mark, thanks, brother. So yeah, back to your comment, dude, about we don't know anything about Saturday night. We think we know. But don't be surprised when MJF betrays him. I think everyone at the beginning said Maxwell Jacob Friedman is obviously going to betray Cody. I don't know if we're saying that right now. I think sort of the talk of all that sort of died down, and when that dies down, then you come back and hit him square in the face with an MJF betrayal, which is what I believe that's going to happen. And listen, this is pro wrestling. It's like comic books. In comic books, dead is never dead. Do you know what I'm saying? There's no such thing as being dead in comic books. You're going to come back. In pro wrestling, just because he says he'll never challenge for the title again, it doesn't mean that's going to be the case. It doesn't mean that's going to be the fact. It's pro wrestling, man. It's no backsies. There's backsies all the time. They take stuff back constantly. I wouldn't sweat the details too awful much on that. I get what you're saying, but I wouldn't sweat it. And as far as storyline, yes, it's storyline that he's not going to challenge for the title again. Stipulation, sure. Listen, call it whatever you want to call it, but that's what they're rolling with right now. That's the angle that they're doing, okay? And, I'm like you, man. It kind of feels like they're setting it up for Cody to win. But there again, we've seen much stranger things happen, with much stricter stipulations in place in other companies, and the stuff never comes through or goes the exact opposite way. At the end of the day, you may very well end up being right. Lance says if Cody wins, MJF beats him up after. That's possible. Because then it would be MJF saying, I'm throwing my hat in the ring for a title match, right? It could be his way to challenge the man that he lied to everyone and said he was his best friend. So, am I enjoying AEW NXT more? I don't know. I'm not really doing a competition kind of thing. I see a lot of other writers and hear a lot of other podcasters doing that kind of stuff. I'm not doing that. I look at the ratings because I'm curious, but I usually don't write about them. I guess I could to get a click, right? But the ratings are what they are. And, it's whatever. NXT, for example, was 9,000 fans away from topping AEW this week, or tying and then topping. So, they're going to get there. But look what NXT had to do. They had to do this whole invasion thing to get within 9,000 fans. And didn't we all kind of say at the beginning that if they started falling behind in ratings, you were going to see stars from other brands crossing over? Didn't we kind of say that? I think we all sort of know where this is going, folks. And no, I'm not saying that Vince is going to screw NXT. I'm not saying that it's over and all that. I did in the beginning, hand to God. You can go back and listen to the show. I admit it. I said it's over. If Vince gets his hands on this, it's over. So far, it looks like he's not gotten his hands on it. So I'm not predicting he will. But I am telling you this, that we knew the rosters were going to cross over. Don't be surprised when you see a lot more. Robert, good point. Can't we just enjoy both? Jason, thank you for your point, my friend. I'm with you most of the time. I check ratings because I am curious. I'm curious to know how they're doing. First, it's part of the job, right? But second, for my own personal interest, I'd like to know how they're doing. You know what I mean? On both sides. Because I wish them both well. Christopher says, I doubt MJF would be next in line. Jon Moxley should be wrapping up his feud with Omega. Things probably... Oh, dude, yeah. And Christopher, to your point, yeah, right. AEW, for whatever reason, has this wacky, wackadoodle notion going on that heels and babyfaces don't matter. Yeah, they do. Okay? And if I get the chance one of these days to interview Cody or Mox or whoever, I will respectfully say, listen, the majority of wrestling fans out there want to see heel versus face. I'm sorry. I've run into more fans here and in reality, out where I can physically shake people's hands and it shows and whatnot, who care about heel versus face than those who don't. And it's important. You can't lose it. AEW has it in their collective heads from Tony Khan on down, apparently. It doesn't matter. It matters. Moxley's a face. Omega's a face. People don't know who to cheer. Okay, in AEW Dynamite Wednesday night, who did Mox go after up on the ramp? Okay, he didn't deliver the paradigm shift to Omega. Omega, he went fisticuffs after he gave the paradigm shift to a heel. You see what I'm saying? And heels attacked both of them. They didn't attack Omega, and John helped. John is babyface. So at some point, they're going to have to bite the bullet. And how many top heels are in that company, I'll ask you right now. They want us to believe MJF is face. Obviously, they want us to believe that. They say that they don't care. Yes, they do. It's just that the way they're booking these matches is all wacky. It's ridiculous. Omega's face. Hangman's face. Young Bucks are face. Moxley's face. Cody is face. My God, who's left? Pac and Jericho. Hager, who never works. You got to give me something here. You got to give me something more than what you're giving me, okay? And I think a lot of other people are agreeing with that as well. Christopher, are you saying that you don't, AEW doesn't seem to think storylines matter at all? Because I'm not suggesting that at all, man. I feel like we need to get on the same page here, brother. I'm not saying that. I just they don't think that the heel and babyface thing is important. And that goes to your point of, if you don't think that's important, then you are disassembling. Great word. You are disassembling from top to bottom the entire concept of a storyline. Because listen, no matter what movie or TV show you watch or what book you read, if there's a hero and a villain, you should want the hero to win in the end. Hero doesn't always win in the end. And in my opinion, from this writer's perspective, okay, I'm not interested in that. I need the hero to win in the end. The hero doesn't have to be perfect. He doesn't have to wear the white hat. He could have been a villain and found redemption and did the right thing in the end. Merle in The Walking Dead. Prime example. Found redemption in the end for all the terrible things he had done by doing the right thing, by saving someone's life. You see what I'm saying? I mean, to me, that's important. And the hero has to win in the end. He has to be here. He's yanked down with a conflict, and he ends up back here at the end. But if you don't model a storyline with those ideas, the fans are left going, what did I just watch? Prime example, there was a tag team match Wednesday Night Dynamite, right? It was Private Party and what do they call themselves? The Dark Order. Horrible. I don't know how it came across on TV. It was absolutely horrible. They did the hot tag, and as soon as the face got in, bam, took a right hand, went down. I'm like, I sat there with my kid, and I said, what? Because I told him, I said, no, what do we call this? He goes, what? And I said, we call this the hot tag. Get ready, here it comes. The hot tag happens, right to the face, boom, straight on the mat. And I'm like, what? I laughed out loud. 2-3 guys turned around. I said, what was that crap? Right? And then the Dark Order does a tag of their own, where the guy's like, he does that flip and then dives into the corner like, I'm tagging you, bro. Come in and save the day. That's a babyface tag. It's a babyface tag, man. Come on. It killed the match. And if I'm so wrong, why did it kill the match? Why did people go, eh? Now, they got him back at the end, but look at the garbage they had to walk through to get there. They didn't have to. Guess who put the garbage in the ring? They did. They shoveled it. Then they had to wade through it hip deep to get out of it. Ridiculous. Whatever happened to psychology, man? Dave says, here's my question at Braves champ. Who will be the number one contender to the belt? Dave, I don't know, man. Hello, James. What's going on? I don't know, man. I don't know. You can always throw some names out there. I mean, you've got, who's on Raw right now that could, well, he'll be on SmackDown, won't he? That's right, because Brock's moved to Raw. Brock quit SmackDown. I quit the show. I'm not going to quit the company. I'm just going to quit this show. I don't know. I think we've all kind of been waiting for the day when Bryan and Wyatt come back together. I think maybe that'll happen at some point. You'll see Daniel Bryan go after him. I don't know that for a fact, but I would not be surprised. The question I guess I have for you is, how long do you want to see Bray with the title? Is anything under 4, 5, 6 months going to be a disappointment to you? Depending on how he's booked, I don't know. I don't care for the Dark Order either. Yeah. Do you think Drew turned face so we can get Drew versus Brock? I don't know, man. Drew McIntyre has all the potential in the world, but I don't have any idea. Christopher says, to me, the matches have to mean something. So far, most of the matches have seemed arbitrary and random. Why are they fighting? Because they are. Christopher, you nailed it, man. You nailed that. Thank you for that. Nailed it. Why are they fighting? Because they are. What's that old saying? How do you know who your daddy is? Because your mama told you so? There's some deep truth to that, okay? So, yeah, why are they fighting? Well, but just because there's a ring there. Because they can. You're right. You're 100% right. Let's see. James says, do you know CM... No, come on, James. The CM Punk thing is, hoy. I just saw someone mention Rick versus Dusty in Great Mood and Classic. Oh, man, you put the word classic in there. You got me from the word jump. Librarians are the best heels in AEW. Lance, I'm digesting what you just said. Define best heels. Is your definition of a great heel someone that gets booed? Because if it is, they're great heels. Leva Bates and Peter Avalon are both great heels. Yeah, sure. If that's your definition of being a great heel, sure, they get booed. But they're not effective. They're not effective. No one's paying to see them get beat up. No one's paying to see someone shut them up. They don't win matches. They don't dominate. They don't win titles. They don't cut a nasty promo and then go out and by hook or by crook cheat to win whatever they have to do to win a match. They're not effective. I can't call them the best heels because they're not effective. They are a comedy act, both of them together. And Avalon can work. Go look at the stuff from, was it Championship Wrestling from Hollywood? Or was it Arizona he was in? I think it was Hollywood. I knew, not knowing, but I knew of Avalon before he ever went to AEW. And he can work. And so can Bates. But this whole comedy shtick is not working. And it's a comedy routine is what it is. I just don't define them as being great heels. Remember the big cast doing the da 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 da. That was great. Luke says definition of a great heel, Ric Flair. Probably the best of all time. Well, first of all, in this humble writer's opinion, Ric Flair is the greatest of all time. I know people have made the case for Shawn and Kurt and, you know, even for Luthez and stuff like that. But for me, it's Flair. I can't ever choose against that guy. It's never going to happen. I don't care what he does right now. It doesn't make a difference to me. He's the greatest of all time. And yeah, if you ask me who the greatest heel of all time is, I would have to say Rick because people paid money to see him get his hide whipped, as it were, right? But greatest heel of all time, Rick, Jake Roberts, Roddy Piper. You know, it's a handful. Greatest of all time. It's a handful. Bobby Heenan. Yeah. So don't get me started on that stuff, man. See the ad that Ambrose is coming back to what? That Dean Ambrose is coming back to Royal Rumble. No, Carlos, don't get worked, my friend. Wherever you saw that, it's garbage. Don't believe it. Yeah, don't believe it. Let's see. Danny, wouldn't it be something if Virgil gets over? Soul Train Jones. So here's my question. Not just for AEW, but WWE, MLW, Impact Wrestling, New Japan, Ring of Honor. When you sign a talent, what is that talent bringing to the table? What are they bringing to the table? What are they bringing that only they can bring? I don't care if it's a referee, ring announcer, the guy that rings the bell, cameraman. You see what I'm saying? It doesn't matter to me what the role is. What are you bringing to the production? What are you bringing to the show that only you can bring? How will you become an asset to this company? And guess who's asking themselves that question? The person in question. How can that person be an asset? When I'm brought on board to a new website, when I get an invitation, or if I go pursuing a position somewhere, the first thing in the back of my head is I have to make an impact. I have to show these folks they made the right call. I have to prove to myself I made the right decision. I have to prove to myself I can deliver. What can I offer that no one else in this website can bring? What perspective can I bring that I'm not reading from anyone else? What can I do to let these people know that they made the right call? And what can I do? What can I offer this website, to this company, that's something that they will look at me and say, he's an asset? And so when I look at Rewind, Virgil slash Vincent slash Soul Train Jones, and I don't know that they signed him to anything, but if they have, then what's his role? Is it backstage? That might work. I don't know. I don't know what his level of knowledge is, and that's not to be insulting. You can have the best wrestlers ever. They may not be good coaches. I interviewed Greg Valentine several months ago, and I asked him if he had been interested in working with NXT and stuff like that, or maybe running his own school. And he kind of led me to believe that, you know, I wouldn't mind giving advice and stuff, but as far as being there and here critiquing a match, he's like, that's not really my thing. And it's not that he wouldn't want to give back and help, because he didn't say anything like to that regard. But, you know, some guys just aren't that. So if we're going to call him Jones now, Soul Train Jones, if that's not him, it's whatever. Spent a long time on that cat, didn't we? Alicia says, does Tessa eventually end up in AEW with her dad? I believe that she does. However, if I was a betting man, Alicia, I would say she's in a WWE with Charlotte. That's what I think. I've been saying that forever. Who wins at Full Gear, Cody or Chris Jericho? So let's talk about Full Gear. That's the name of today's show. Here's the card real quick on the buy-in. Britt Baker versus B. Priestley. I loves me some B. Priestley. I really do. We can let's spend a second on this. If you saw Britt Baker's promo, and she's on AEW, and they're talking about that B kicked her in the head, and that was a six lady tag or whatever it was, and you know, she went after me, and there's a tradition in this business. If you hurt someone, you call them to check on them. Britt Baker exposed her business. I want that to sink in. I want everybody commenting to take a second and hear what I just said. Britt Baker, who's probably the top female talent in AEW, exposed to that company's business. Now, the Young Bucks have already done it. They all do it constantly. AEW is a very, with a wink and a nod, that is professional wrestling. They may as well just say, hello, folks, in AEW you'll get the best professional wrestling. Britt Baker exposed that company. And what's worse is she exposed herself and her opponent. Why would I care now about B. Priestley versus Britt Baker? Why would I care? Why couldn't the comment have been, the kick was unnecessary? She wasn't even in the match. This wasn't about winning a match. This was about hurting me personally. Now, I don't know what your problem is with me or what issues we have, but I'm back at full strength. We're going to settle our issues. And you better hope I'm in a position where you can kick me in the head, because it's the only way you're going to be able to keep me down. But no, she has to go pull the curtain back and say, look, folks, pro wrestlers are supposed to take care of each other. Don't tell anyone. She exposed her business. Sorry, it's how I feel. I don't want to spend all day on that. But if you're not hearing what I'm saying, if you're skipping past that, you're skipping past a fundamental problem that this business has in 2019. You can sit there, I don't care how old you are today, whether you're listening or watching the show, or both, or whatever, does make a difference. Don't matter how old you are, what your perspective is. If you sit there and tell me that it's okay to expose the business in 2019 and act like it doesn't matter anymore, that kayfabe means nothing, I disagree with you vehemently on that, and I think you're misguided. I'm not hurling insults or anything of that nature, but I think you need to go back and take a long, hard look at what made this business successful to begin with. What made it survive through the 1990s to today in the first place, before Vince McMahon, broke the whole freaking thing down in front of your eyes. Kayfabe's what made it work. Sorry. That's just how I feel. Let's see. Chris says, I agree, but so is Baltimore Wrestling. Oh, okay. Sorry, man. You guys are talking. My bad. What's up, Orlando? Man, Orlando, dude, freak, man. Yeah, some of you guys have the best names ever. You know what a cool name Orlando is? Now listen, I was named after my grandfather, who I'm sure was a great guy. He died at 24, and my dad also died at 24. So it's kind of a weird thing in my family. A lot of men in my family didn't see any gray hair ever. Another subject for another day. So I love my name. Don't misunderstand me. But Orlando's a name, dude. Freak, man. I dig that name. Wrestling gets boring when they try to make it more realistic. Well, Christopher, yeah, dude, you got your perspective. I see what you're saying. All right. So, okay, I got you. So, in other words, okay, let me see if I know where you're coming from. So, when they do peel back the curtain and try to let you in on it, does that drag it down for you? Does that make it go, oh, dude, I don't want to hear this? Or are you on the flip side of the argument where you're like, I don't care about that. They shouldn't act like it's not real. Do you see what I'm saying? I'm just curious where you're coming at from that. Yeah, Victor, what's up, man? Yeah, we went live at 9 o'clock today. Very early. Sorry, Chris. Yeah, man. We went live at 9 o'clock today, dude, because I got stuff going on today that I didn't anticipate happening. But don't worry, folks. If you've missed the show or any portion of it, you can always go back and watch it. The full thing on Wrestling Rumors. It'll be on YouTube as well. It automatically downloads to YouTube. And remember, if you're listening, thank you for listening. Thank you for subscribing on iTunes. We appreciate it. And Google Play, by the way. Okay, Chris, cool. We're on the same page. That's awesome. Not even if we weren't, it would have been okay too. I'm just saying. You don't have to agree with me, man. It's all good. I get hate on here sometimes. I shouldn't say hate, but I get criticism. It's all right. I got bagged on last week. It's perfectly fine. Yeah, Will, we're a little early today, brother. So anyway, that will be my rant on Priestley versus Baker. Here's the rest of the card. Shawn Spears versus Joey Janela. Lucha Bros versus SCU versus Private Party for the AEW World Tag Team Championships. Hangman Page versus Pac. I still want to call him Pac, but I'll roll with whatever he wants to say. The Proud and the Powerful, which I dig that name. Santana and Ortiz, they needed a name to be able to market. And I think that's cool. It works for me. Versus the Young Bucks. Riho versus Emi Sakura? Yeah. Jon Moxley versus Kenny Omega and Cody versus Chris Jericho for the AEW World Championship. A couple of quick notes on the matches here. Riho's the frailty of her frame. Riho is as tiny as you would think she is. She's tiny. You can barely see her. This is the part where I start to sound like Jim Cornette, and I don't mean to. But Riho goes way back with Omega. She was the little girl that worked Omega in New Japan, or in Japan, period. That's probably why she's there. Riho was the wrong choice to put that title on. Absolutely. Riho, there has to be an air of believability. When they put the world title on Rey Mysterio, going back to Rey, you looked at it and you said, God, Rey's tiny. But Rey was jacked. And Rey could defend himself. And Rey could bounce around the ring and he could get away, more importantly. He could get around, he could get away, he could go for the knees. Riho works a straight up wrestling match on the other woman's terms. If the other woman is a power wrestler, Riho comes right at her. I have a problem with that. It's not believable. Cereal's killing me. It's real life, baby. I have a problem with that. Emi Sakura, yeah. Horrendous. Whoever's telling her that this Freddie Mercury gimmick is working is advising her incorrectly. That thing got over like a lead balloon in Charlotte. She's out there trying to do the We Will Rock You on the mat. Boom, boom, tss, right? The crowd sat there and said, all right, I actually heard people say, isn't she the heel? I'm not kidding. In fact, I was one of them that said it. And I was like, yeah, she's the heel. Why is she doing this? She's trying to get the crowd into it. She's trying to get the crowd to care about her when she's beating up on poor little Riho. And she is out there with Jamie Hayter, and they're doing heel tag team moves. But then she gets in the ring and tries to do that. We will rock you. Hey, love me. She wears a mustache to the ring, folks. I believe in expressions just as much as the next guy. And whatever your gimmick is, if it's working for you, go with God. It's not working for her. No one believes this. No one's gonna. Rio's winning this match. There's no chance that Emi Sakura is gonna win this match. There's no chance. And it'll fundamentally be fine because these two ladies have probably worked each other 500 times or something, but it'll probably be fine in that regard. It won't be believable and it won't be great. I'm just throwing it out there to you. You guys tell me what you think on that. Michael, you're not off subject at all. Rhea Ripley does look amazing in the ring. Rhea Ripley looks like she could legit bust you up. Legit. If Rhea Ripley had a problem with me, I'd have a problem with that because I'd be like, oh God, I'm going to get hurt today. You know what I mean? I agree if you tell him it's like pulling back the curtain Wizard of Oz. I told my dad's teen wrestling is fake. He gave me a figure 4 and I retracted my statement. I retracted my statement. That's perfect. Shane says, do you think Finn Balor joins OC or does he turn on them? I don't think he joins OC. Here's what I know. WWE has the founder of the Bullet Club and the second most and probably the most famous leader of the Bullet Club next to Omega on the payroll. So with that being the case, I'm looking at Bobby Fish's face. He's always like that, you know, like that every time. Anyways, I digress. So with that being the case, how do you not put them together? But here's what I'm telling you. Both of their characters will not be able to coexist and share the same air in the same place, the same time for very long. Because AJ has to be in charge. Balor has to be in charge as a heel. They're setting up for a major match down the road. They're setting up for a major match. And it could happen at WrestleMania. I'm just throwing it out there. I know it's soon. I know it's relatively soon. But if they put them together as of Survivor Series in November 24th, if they put them together in November 24th, then Mania is what, April of next year? Or is it March? I think that's plenty of time to put them together, steamroll every single person on the entire freaking roster. And next thing you know, bam, Balor sticks to AJ. Or AJ sticks it to Balor and we have one-on-one at WrestleMania, which would tear the house down. That's what I believe. That's me. Yeah, Finn's on NXT right now, James, but it doesn't mean anything. Listen, if anyone should know about how this thing works with, yeah, but this guy's on this brand now, come on. Come on, man, it's WWE. You can't, this is not Major League Baseball. Well, he can't be on that team because he's on that team. That's not how this works. It's one guy's call. If Vince tells them today, get word to AJ, I want him on SmackDown. Get word to AJ, I want him on NXT. He'll be there. That's it. It doesn't make a difference what brand they're on. I get what you're saying. And it should matter to us because it should matter to them. It doesn't matter to them. It's never mattered to them at all. Nerds! I like that. Yeah, for sure. That's the Gallows and Anderson reference. Finn versus AJ can be WrestleMania main event. It can be if there's a title involved. It could be the main event if there's a title involved. Because I believe the world title should always go on last. There's no continuity between the brands. There never has been. Christopher, I'm with you 100%, my friend. They're giving WWE so much credit. They mess everything up. Am I giving them too much credit? I disagree with that. Okay, so what's standing out to you on the AEW Full Gear card? What's standing out? By the way, I'm watching Jessamine Duke pose and act like she's a big, tough chick. And with her really, really skinny arms and her skinny frame, and that chick could probably choke me out. I don't use the word chick disrespectfully, by the way. I call men dudes. You see what I'm saying? Don't take offense to it. I know that they're told go out there and have a lot of energy and get over as a heel, but man, she's just, I don't know. I'm not feeling it. Shafir is so much better than Duke is, in my opinion. And she looks tougher as well. Duke just looks like a poser. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'll be proved to be wrong. Finn versus AJ, good, but it won't to different. James, you missed me on that, my friend. Thank you, Alicia. I don't think so either. Jason, what's up? Brock should have been stripped of the title after quitting SmackDown. It looks like the title switching brands. Fox must be okay with that. Here's what I don't get. Why do you put the guy that Fox reportedly wanted, because he's Brock Lesnar, reportedly wanted on SmackDown, why do you take that guy and put him back on Raw? I mean, why did that happen? Isn't that weird? That doesn't make any sense to me at all. I don't understand why we did that. What was the point of all that? Do you know what I mean? I mean, wouldn't it make more sense to keep Brock on SmackDown as WWE Champion? The WWE Championship instead of the Universal Championship? Are they really trying to get the belt over that much by putting it on SmackDown? Or I don't understand what the logic is behind that. Because it's Vince, 100% right. Because Paul Heyman. Sorry, folks. I know I'm being rude. That's like that person you go over to their house and instead of talking to you, they're on their phone. Because Fox knew they weren't getting the Fiend. Because knew they were... Okay, so what you're saying, Luke, is that Fox in their control room with their draft team of specialists were like, we need to have the Fiend. I'm not saying you're saying that, but I get you. Ray faces AJ and Finn. That would be a good match for sure. Jason, Brock Lesnar on Raw because of Paul Heyman. Yeah, Jason, that's the rumor that because Paul didn't want to... Paul's working on Raw, so keep Paul on Raw, I guess. It makes sense, but yeah. Christopher says, so will they change the Universal title strap to blue? I don't think so. God, Chris, that's a good one, man. I guess they could. What else is blue? Wait, the tag team titles are on blue leather, so maybe they won't do that. Right? Aren't the SmackDown belts still on blue leather? I don't think they'll change it to blue. What color are they not using at this point? All the colors of the rainbow. Was that the whole point? The whole, equal rights thing, and we're all woke in 2019 and we should embrace all, was that the point of the multicolored straps? How come I've never thought of that before? You may have just hit on something. Look, count it out. Black's not a color, right, in the rainbow, but you've got white, you got red, you've got blue, you've got, what am I missing? There's not a yellow, is there? There's not a green. Is there a green? There's not a green. Huh. Does Bray have a new belt? Man, did I fall asleep on that one? Have they done a new belt for Bray? Someone send me a picture of it here, will you? The Fiend versus Brock Lesnar would be a good main event match. Orlando, I'm with you. I just, who goes over? Brock, because Brock goes over on everybody. But here's the thing. Seth did everything but, hit Bray Wyatt with a truck. And he still got back up. So, supposedly, I guess a match with Brock would make perfect sense. But I don't know if they'll go that route. Every time I try to predict a Brock Lesnar match in terms of how he will behave and how a guy, not in real world, obviously, because it's predetermined. But, every time I try to predict behavior on Brock's character, on the part of his character and all that stuff, I end up being not right. And what I say makes sense in my head and on paper, but then I watch the match unfold and I'm like, wow, this is not at all what I thought it was going to be. So, yeah, the belt they gave Braun in Saudi Arabia. Good call, Christopher. Yeah. See, they have booked Bray's too strong at this point. They, Alicia, is what we said a few weeks ago here on the show. They painted themselves into a corner with him. They've okay? They've backed themselves up against the wall, and now they got nowhere to go. That it's like was the old saying, once you walk on the moon, what could you possibly do after you walk on the moon? What could you do on this earth that would ever top walking on the moon? Do you see what I'm saying? That's sort of what they've done here. What could you possibly do with this cat that you haven't already done? And if nothing can beat him, then he better not ever lose. Because if he does lose, legit pin, then yeah, you're putting that other guy over. I get it. Is that the belt? Is that the real belt? Because here's the deal. Several months ago, it's been a while back, someone had made a custom-made WWE title. And I think it was when he was WWE champion, I think. Someone made one, and Bray retweeted the pic or on Instagram or something. And that looks a lot like it. I'm not saying you're wrong, man, but... Okay, so... I got off topic there. Excuse me, I'm sorry. So what else have we got today in terms of AEW Full Gear? Anything else you guys want to talk about? What do you think about Moxley and Omega? I think this is Moxley's match to win, but I would not be surprised if Omega won. I just think they've both got... And here's the thing that kills me is that Omega's cutting heel promos. They want us to believe he's babyface. I guess. I don't know what that company wants anymore at some points, but they want us to believe that Omega's babyface, he acts babyface, but then he cuts heel promos on Jon, which doesn't make a whole heck of a lot of sense. Daniel's belt was brown for sure. Is that Daniel's belt? Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking so as well. I think that's the pic that Bray retweeted a long while back when he was still just Bray Wyatt. Because someone showed it to him and he made a comment and retweeted it. So, yeah, retweeted or Instagram or Facebook or something. It wasn't Facebook. So, I think Moxley kind of has to win this match. There again, you've got Omega who's cutting heel promos on Jon, but he works like a face and he wrestles heels, and no one really knows what's going on in that company. And to me, I don't want to harp too much on this. I vent a lot. You guys know that. But, I just don't know. I don't know if they think what kind of good they think they're doing their company and their product overall. If they're trying to make out like heels versus face doesn't matter anymore. Orlando says, do you think Cody wins the AEW Championship? I am sticking to my guns on this, Orlando, and I'm sticking to my guns, and I'm saying that at the very last moment, as the referee's hand is coming down for 2.75, MJF pulls the referee out and screws and jumps in and bashes Cody upside the head. And I think that's how the show ends. That's my belief. I don't think anyone believed MJF was on Cody's side in the beginning. But I think now, fast forward a few weeks since he stepped up to help him, I don't think anyone's even questioning MJF at this point, which is the perfect opportunity for that company to pull the swerve. Do I know that's going to happen? No. What if it's a clean win and he just flat out beats Jericho? I think the best move is to keep the title on Jericho at this point in time. That's my opinion. So, yeah. Yeah, Gerald, early show. My friend went live at 9 o'clock. Yeah, Christopher, and to your point, man, you can't run as a tweener. It's what we call in between guys, a tweener. You can't run a tweener. You can't. You can try. You can't. It's not going to happen. It won't get over. It won't get over. You have to do one or the other. People need to boo or cheer you. Now listen, if they want to boo the faces and cheer the heels, they'll do whatever they want to do. But in terms of what the company, and see, I think that's what AEW is looking at is, why should we force the issue when fans are going to do what they want to do? Folks, I got news for you. Anyone that doesn't know this should listen real close, and you ought to know this by now. If you don't, I'm going to be the guy to tell you today. You'll be the first person to hear it from me. Heels versus faces matter. And if the crowd's not doing what you want them to do, then you condition them to do the thing you want them to do. Okay? Well, Tom, they should give the crowd what they want. No, they shouldn't. Not all the time. And I've been the guy to write columns with comments such as, WWE didn't deliver what the fans wanted tonight. WWE doesn't deliver what the fans need tonight. WWE didn't give the crowd what it wanted. WWE doesn't do what the crowd needs. I've been the guy to write those very lines with very combinations of words in the same sentences, paragraphs, columns, podcasts, slideshows, opinion pieces, editorials for 9 years. I'm the guy, hand to God, guilty. That's me, guilty. But at the same time, you can't give fans everything they want. You have to keep fans coming back. If you give fans everything they want, they're never going to come back, or they'll come back in to check. But now listen, there's a fine line. There's a fine line. You can't WWE the crap out of this, right? If you WWE the crap out of it, you never give anybody what they want, and you stick a middle finger up to your audience and say, "We know better than you do. We don't care what you think." You have to give them something. You have to give them something, or you're going to create what WWE has created with their legion of unhappy fans. I'm sorry, it's how I feel. Now, to them, it doesn't matter because that legion of unhappy fans are still buying the merch and buying the tickets and watching the shows. So it's a weird thing. You know what I mean? But listen, just because your baseball team lets you down doesn't mean you're going to stop watching baseball. I guess you could. I don't know. Just because your NFL team lets you down doesn't mean you're going to sell all your jerseys. Right? You're going to still watch. I get tired of people saying, well, if you don't like it so much, don't watch. I'm a pro wrestling fan. Don't tell me not to watch. I'm going to watch. Okay. It doesn't, however, mean I got to support every move that AEW makes or WWE makes or Ring of Honor, NWA, or anybody else. I will pick and choose at what works for me as a fan and what I believe the business should be in my humble opinion, in my humble viewpoint, in my humble estimation. Okay? But doesn't mean I can sit here and support anybody 100% top to bottom. You don't side with the $1 billion company over the wrestler. It's not a good idea. It's not a good look, and I'll never do that. It's never going to happen. Okay? It says that's the problem with fans today, which they give them what they want is not what they want. Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Totally. Yeah. They're like, well, we gave you what you want and you turned on us. So don't give them what they want. And I know that's hypocritical. I'm a fan first, a writer second, right? I don't care who. I don't care if you don't. I don't care who doesn't like that. I've seen people get lectured on Twitter before about, well, you have to be a journalist. You're not doing this because you're a journalist, doofus. You're doing it because you're a fan. Don't tell me anything about that crap. Is that, oh well, Tom, you should blah blah blah. I don't want to hear that. It's hot garbage. There's your catchphrase for the day, baby. Hot freaking garbage. You're writing about it because you're a fan. Now, you might become a well-rounded journalist after the fact. You're a fan. Unless you're the baseball guy on foxsports.com or whatever, and you're told, could you cover that SmackDown show tonight? I guess. That's different. But for 99% of us, we're writing because we were fans to begin with. So I know it sounds hypocritical when I'm telling you that they shouldn't give fans everything they want. But I'm telling you, that's just how it is. You know, how about this? You can't let fans control the narrative. If you have a narrative from A to Z, and you have a direction, and you know how you want to get there, and where you want to get there, and where you want to be in the end, you got to follow that path. Now, again, Tom, there's a fine line. I get it. There's a fine line between following that path and staying committed to it and listening to your own. I'm not to say give them everything they want. I said listen. There's an important thing. You have to listen. I get that. Keith said Dominic turns on Ray, costs him the match. It could be. Could be. Yeah. Don't need him to. It's Brock Lesnar. Brock doesn't need any help. But I wouldn't be surprised. It's WWE. WWE's brother against brother doesn't work. They've done it. Why not do father against son? It won't work, but they'll do it. It's WWE, man. You can't trust anything coming out of that company. So, all right. So so back to Cody and Jericho. My pick is Jericho. My pick is Moxley over Omega. That's my two picks there. And then what else do we have? I've got Riho over Emi Sakura. I got Proud and Powerful over the Young Bucks, or it could just end in a schmoz with the Inner Circle come running down and doing their thing. SCU retains against Lucha Bros and Private Party. I think Hangman Page needs this win against Pac. Spears over Janela. That's what I'll say. And then I'll go Priestley over Baker. That one might be a little backwards, but that's what I'll do. Thank you, my friend. Our Answers New podcast. But Nathan, I miss you, brother. Where were you? I do listen to the Arn show. It's not the Arn show. It's just Arn. Very creative. By the way, if you listen to any of Thompson's podcast, man, religiously, they got some sponsors, and that's great for them. No disrespect to getting sponsors. It's a good thing. That's money on the table, right? Money in your pocket. But man, they spend a lot of time placating the sponsors on those shows. It's crazy. But yeah, I'll listen to Arn. It's entertaining. If you're a WWE wrestler, would you go back to the Saudi Arabia after? I don't know, Shane. That's a big if. Supposedly, they've extended the deal, and they're going to include more events in Saudi Arabia. The plot thickens. The trucks full of the blood money. The camels are pulling it back to the back door. I'm not trying to be like that. I'm just saying blood money. You know how I feel about the Saudi Arabia thing. What do you think about Randy Orton signing a multi-year? I'm not surprised, Orlando. He was teasing AEW. But we said when that happened that Randy likes to mess with people, which is exactly what he did. So I'm not surprised at all. I'm fine with it. What's up, Bid? How are you, my friend? You can fast match for likes of Bray and Bryan. Makes them think they have a say to keep it coming back. Yeah, James nailed it, folks. When WWE gives you Bryan and gives you Kofi, they make you think that they're listening, but they're really not, because in the end, they're getting what they want. In the end, they got what they wanted because they put the belt on Brock. In the end, they got what they wanted because Daniel's situation is a little bit different because he was hurt. But when they turned Daniel heel, they effectively rendered him ineffective, if I'm being honest. That's kind of what they did with him. And I get that his character had sort of peaked at that point and maybe he had to become heel. But at the same time, I got to be honest with you, I don't know. I just don't know how I feel about it because he was such a good babyface. And, yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. Here's what I would love. I would love for the Yes Movement to come back. And if you think it can't, I think you're fooling yourself. I think Daniel Bryan, at his best, can unite an entire arena full of people. And we've seen him do it. If you want a spine-tingling, bone-chilling, game-changing moment, go back and YouTube the night that Daniel Bryan turned on Bray Wyatt. Cage match. If you didn't see it, if you've only seen it once, go back and watch it. I'll put it on my Facebook page if I think about it. It was game-changing. There wasn't a soul in that arena that wasn't chanting yes. That was some amazing stuff. I got some negativity on that. It's okay. It's okay. I'm stick to my guns, man. It's what I think. What do you think they will do with Seth next? I love the NWA Retro video game. I freaking love it, man. I love it. Seth's a whole other topic, man. We could do a whole show on Seth Rollins. Seth's going to be on Raw. I mean, I don't want to see Seth versus Brock again. I just don't want to see it. And because of that, I don't know where they're going to go with this. They'll take it in some weird direction or whatever that they think is going to work. I wish I had a prediction for you, but I really don't. We'll just have to wait and see how it plays out. Jesse says Seth Rollins also sucks in his opinion. Well, Brock being champ is what's best for business. Luke, that's a perspective, I guess. Yeah, it was a moment, man. It was that Daniel Bryan thing over Bray Wyatt was a moment for sure. I think it's coming to the major systems, Chris, isn't it? Isn't that what they said? PS4 and Xbox One. Am I crazy? What do they call that? The 16 was it the 16-bit, 32-bit? What's that they call it for the old 80s cartoons, old 80s games and stuff? You know. Danny says Charlotte is the GOAT. Well, they sure want you to believe that, don't they? Talk about someone who's been engineered to be the greatest of all time. I'll catch some heat for that one. It's all right. She's been positioned and she's been engineered to be the greatest of all time. Now, they did the same thing with Jon. But in one case, the performer stepped up. In the other case, the performer arguably did not step up. But in that other case, the performer arguably stepped up, and whereas the other case, the performer did not, but did everything in his power to, and that was Jon. Jon stepped up to the level that he could, and Charlotte stepped up to the level she could, and it was two entirely different levels. Does that make any sense? Retromania, that's the one. Yeah, that's the one. Daniel Bryan best match in WWE versus Triple H. Well, that's saying something, right? Yeah, Alexa Bliss injured again. That's never going to end, is it? Give the belt to someone different than Brock. Well, from your lips to the ears of God, my friend. Greatest of all time, Ethan? Talking about male or female? Greatest of all time? Male's Ric Flair, for sure. Female? Female might be a bit tougher. Yeah, Luke says he thinks Brock draws crowd. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I can't argue with that. I won't argue with that. I think it'd be silly to. What's up with Kevin Owens? What is the latest on Kevin Owens? So Kevin Owens is a prime example to me of the prototypical WWE superstar. He is exactly the type of example I think of when I think of a WWE superstar who should be here, but it's here. And his name could be Kevin Owens. His name could be Dolph Ziggler. His name could be Kofi Kingston, whatever. It's the same cat. Should be here, but he's here. That's what Kevin is to me. And we all look at it like, wow, Kevin, you should be here. But he's here. See what I'm saying? He's 3 levels below where he probably should be. That's WWE. It's a big company. They got a lot of masters to satisfy. They have a lot of things on their agenda. Kevin is not a priority for them in terms of main event guys. He's not. For whatever reason, he's not what they want. Neither is Dolph. I don't care what anyone says. Well, Dolph's been employed this whole time. I don't care. I don't care. Go back and look at Dolph's world title win. That brought the crowd out of their seats. Took the belt away from him no time after that. It was insane. I know there are injuries happen and stuff, but you don't just tap out on a guy because he gets hurt. God's sake. They'll do it in a heartbeat. That's why in WWE you don't tell the truth when you're hurt. You'd be crazy too. Nathan says, with the AEW and the women's division being somewhat lacking in charisma, is that a problem that can be fixed from within, or is it a matter of recruiting new blood? I think it's a little bit of both, Nathan, if I'm being honest with you. I think you need the right guy running it. I think if Fit Finley ever becomes available, AEW snatches him up because they need him. Finley was the guy responsible for the success of WWE's women's division. He's the one working with the women behind the scenes. And if he ever ends up out of a job, AEW needs him for the women's division because they need something. WWE has more talent, the women's division, and more bodies. Okay? And AEW doesn't have as many bodies, but they also don't have the level of importance, to your point. They just don't. I think it's a little bit of both. I don't believe the women in AEW are trying to deliver anything less than what they can. I think you're seeing the best that they have. The problem, I believe, is that what the best that they have is not good enough for the level they're on now. It would be in a smaller arena, I know it sounds degrading, bingo hall, Armory, Allegiant Hall, a smaller venue. They'd be great. Worldwide national television, worldwide platform, a nationally known network. Nah, it's not enough. You got to step it up. And I don't think that they are. I think that you've seen what Janela can do. I don't think there's anything else. I don't think he's a main event superstar in the making. No, he's not. You've seen what he's got. That's what he can do. Sorry, you've seen it. It's, there's the growth isn't happening because he thinks he's already there. And chances are they're already telling him, you're good, Joey. Go out there and give him the joy, that we all know and love. You're good. I disagree with that. I don't think that's what it is. I don't think that's what it should be. I think talent should be willing to evolve, to change up their game if necessary, to be able to listen to veterans. The best thing that AEW has done to this point, in my estimation, is put Jim Ross on the roster. Because according to Ross on his podcast, he calls them kids. He talks to these kids constantly. Do you know what a big deal that is? I want you to think about your chosen profession, whether it's something you want to do or not. But just imagine that you came into it and there was one guy who was the best in the company, and you didn't know a whole lot about what you were doing. And that guy came to you and said, I've got some advice for you if you're willing to listen. If you don't want to, it's fine. You just got to act like he's not there? No, it's a good thing for the guys in that company who need the help. But the problem is, I think they've brought talent in who are already performing up to the level that they can do. And I don't think they can go beyond that. No disrespect. Not everybody is Steve Austin. Not everybody is Dean Malenko. Not everybody is Ric Flair. Not everybody is. Okay? So, there's different levels of talent. But if you put this guy on TV, Janela or whoever, if you put them on TV and tell me that they're a superstar, you got to prove it. They're not. Okay? And that's the problem. And I think that's where the thinness of AEW's roster is becoming apparent. It's becoming evident. And I think that's where the issues are, is with the talent roster right now. And I think it's becoming painfully obvious at this point. Steven says, if you could make one major change to the world of wrestling, what would it be? God, I don't know. That's a huge question. No one's ever asked me that before, Steven. If I could make one change to the world of pro wrestling, what would it be? One change. I don't know. That's a good question. What would I change if I could change something? There's a lot of things I would like to change, but it goes to the hearts and minds issue. You can't change the way that people bag on pro wrestling. You can't. If you're not a fan, you don't get it. I can never change that. I've been listening to it since I was 10, okay? And I'll always listen to it. This is how it is. I'd love to change that. That's never going to change. Some things I'd like to change fundamentally cannot be changed. What would I change from... All right, okay, so here's my quick off-the-cuff answer. I'd like to see more cooperation between the companies. I'd like to envision a world where, Kazuchika Okada could work AJ Styles in a WWE ring. Or I'd like to envision a world where Kazuchika Okada and Seth Rollins could work in an AEW ring. And I know all that sounds impossible. It is impossible. But I'd like to see Minoru Suzuki versus Brock Lesnar. In Impact Wrestling. I know what you're thinking, Tom. This is goofy. I want more cooperation. That's what I would love to see. It'll never happen. Just imagine like you've got your favorite TV shows, like your 4 favorite TV shows. If you have 4 favorite TV shows, now imagine those 4 shows having a series of crossover shows together. Probably not going to happen if it's different networks, right? So that's kind of what we're looking at. But I would love to see more cooperation. I think it'd be good for the business. I think it'd be great for the fans. That's what I think. Mark says he's an AEW wrestling fan and an NWA fan. Mark, that's awesome. I'm a pro wrestling fan. So if you define yourself as a pro wrestling company, and if you don't, I'm willing to give you the chance. Gary just mentioned earlier that he knows where they can go to get some pro wrestling training. Listen, guys, I have teased the big announcement that's coming on Black Friday. Stay tuned to Tom Clark's social media on Black Friday to get the scoop on what's happening with your boy and pro wrestling, because I'm excited. I've been working on this stuff. So is Gary. Gary's been pounding the streets, man, getting it done. And I'm doing my small part to assist in the endeavor. But it's going to be fun. Stay tuned, guys. Stay tuned. Luke says it won't happen because of competition. Luke, I'm not going to argue with you, man. You're right. Who's the best wrestler right now? Danny, that's easy. Okada. Period. Kazuchika Okada is best in the world. Sorry. That's how I feel. You can argue with me if you want to. You can tell me Seth and AJ, and you can make a case for anybody you want to. But to me, it's Okada. Till the day Okada loses a step, it's Okada. Billy Kay and Peyton Royce would do well in AEW and bring some character to the women's division. I'm not hating that. I'm not hating that. Yeah, her husband, Sean Spears, is already there. I'm not hating that, man. Peyton and Royce in AEW. It already kind of feels like an AEW gimmick, doesn't it? You know what? I think that would probably be okay. I think that would work. For sure. Cooperation between companies would raise the profile of wrestling in general all across the board and would likely cause a new boom period like never before. I got to agree with you. I think there's more money to be made by cooperating than there is by trying to have these wars between each other. There's one thing you don't want to have happen. And that you don't want to antagonize Vince McMahon to the point that he will come out with both guns blazing. If you do, it's over. Sorry. And I'm not the world's biggest WWE fan. I can't even call myself a WWE fan. I'm a pro wrestling fan, okay? If you antagonize him to the point where he can focus, if there were no XFL coming up next year, this AEW thing would be an experiment. It wouldn't be a company. And I get it. The Khan family has more money than the McMahon family. They can hold out. Let me tell you something about rich guys. Okay? Rich guys will hold out to a point. But you know how much money rich guys want to lose? Zero, Jack. None. They don't want to lose a dime. If the rich guy starts losing too much money, the rich guy's going to get out. Don't be surprised if a year from now, I'll call it, if this time next November, if we haven't seen substantial gains on the part of AEW, you're going to start hearing rumors about the company closing shop. Now, I'm not saying I want it. I never said I wanted Impact to shut down. I never said I wanted Lucha Underground to shut down. I don't want anybody to shut down. I want these companies to be as profitable as they can be as successful as they can be. Money, 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 baby. Employ as much men and women as they can in this business. That's what I want for the talent. That's what I want for the industry as a whole. Don't be surprised. The Khan family says, I think we've had fun, Tony, but I think we're done now. That's how I feel. Let's see. Christopher says, wrestling promotions could be more like governing bodies in boxing. It would be cool to see one dude pick up a ton of belts from multiple promotions. That'd be different, wouldn't it? Wow. Yeah, I could see that too. Never happened, but I'm with you. I think it'd be a great idea. Shane says, get rid of sports entertainment, go back to territory days, the 80s, NWA wrestling. Well, here's the thing, Shane. Aren't we kind of back to the territories now? This is the closest we've come to the territory since the territory shut down, isn't it? Think about the number of active pro wrestling companies you have in 2019, and it's the most that you've seen since the 80s, I think. And don't just count the nationally televised companies. Talk about all the ones that are in operation who are making money that you don't hear about too much. There's Evolve Wrestling. There's PWX. There's there's several other companies out there that are making money. PWG. You don't hear too much about PWG, right? So RevPro, right? There's companies out there making money. Doesn't mean they're getting rich. It means they're turning a profit. It's important. I submit that we're here at the territory era again. Impact's new streaming service. I don't know, man. I don't know how they would judge that. Depending on the number of streams, I guess. I don't know how they do that. Whoa. Sorry, Mark. You're talking about Access TV. I don't know. I haven't heard any ratings. I'd be curious to look that up. I think I'll look that up. I have no idea. I've watched and covered the first 2 shows. So, listen, if nothing else is getting me back watching Impact Wrestling again. I don't care for Joey Ryan. I never will. And listen, if you listen to the crowd, a lot of them don't care either. That's the truth. I just don't. I think it's put a black eye on the business. That's what I believe. So I'm not watching for that garbage. It's hot garbage. I watch because there are some good talent in Impact that I think deserve attention. So, see you, Sandy. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out today who has to split. Thank you much. I know we went on crazy early today, but it was fun. All right, guys, listen, we've been going a little over an hour here. I know that we have been, we started very crazy early today. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Yeah, James, we went several hours early today. I will be posting links and reminders on my page and the Wrestling Rumors page around 12 o'clock to let everybody know that, yes, we ran the show earlier than usual today. So please keep your eyes open for that. Everybody, thank you for watching. Please enjoy Full Gear Saturday night. Everybody have fun this weekend. Have a good, safe weekend. Enjoy yourselves. Go out there and enjoy the sunshine if you've got it while you still can. And thanks for watching, man. I do greatly appreciate it. That's all I got for you. We're getting out of here. Everybody have a good one. We'll see you next time on Tom Clark's Main Event.